Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come in, come in, come in. This is Tamika's Den. I am Tamika. And this is Sistas, y'all. Okay, we are back again. Y'all know what time it is, ladies and gents. Okay. This is Benefit of the Doubt is the name of this episode. And of course, this is season 4, episode 19. Child, we started out this episode with Jake waiting outside for Zach and Fatima, right? Well, actually waiting for Zach, but we get Fatima and Zach pulling up. And so, when they get out, first thing Zach is like, yo, what are you doing here? He was like, I was actually just about to leave, and he was like, I just wanted to talk to you for a minute. And so, Zach was basically saying, you remember my girl Fatima? He was like, yeah, of course. So, at first he asked to speak to him real quick, but then he was like, you know what? Because Zach, Fatima was saying she was going to go inside and wait. And he was like, no, he wanted to take her inside because he wanted to surprise her and show her how the place looked. So, Jake ended up being like, you know what? I could wait till tomorrow. Don't even worry about it. He was like, I had to talk to your contractor. And so Zach was like, oh, shoot, I was supposed to pay him. And, Jake let him know he paid him already. He took care of it. So he was like, oh, man, you didn't have to do that. Let him go in and get him a check. And he was like, nah, really, I could wait till tomorrow. Zach is like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, absolutely, man. He was like, it's fine. It's great to see you again, Fatima. Y'all go ahead and handle y'all business. And so Zach was like, I appreciate it, man. He was like, he really seems to be a good dude. And so far, Jake has not shown anything that he's not, okay? But we always got to keep that one eye, open, because we never know which way things is going to turn. But so far, he actually hasn't shown that he shouldn't trust him, And of course, Fatima's like, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, okay? But I ain't really feeling it too hot either. And Zach tells her she don't trust nobody. And then she's like, can we go ahead and go in? And of course, he want to be, wait, slow down. Why you got to rush? And all that kind of stuff, saying that he wants them to just enjoy the moment. And so he was like, you going to really like this or whatever the case may be. And she was like, yes, I'm going to love it. And so, he says, well, come on. He was like, you sure? Like, keep stopping. And she like, boy, if you don't get your behind in here. And, he's like, she always got to be rushing people. So, excuse me, y'all, I'm kind of congested. And so, they go ahead and they go inside, right? And we then get, just him like trying to guide her in and, show her the place, show him all the, her all the work that he's done. And she's like, wow, I really love it. You did a great job in here. She's really feeling it. She's happy. I love seeing Zach and Fatima together. They just put a smile on your face, okay? And he was saying, he want to do everything he can to provide for the woman he loves. And right now, this is the first time he's been in a position to do it. And, he want to share all these things with her. She's definitely the right woman, and he's telling her that he loves her. And she was like, I know you do. And so basically, besides showing her the place, besides showing her that he have this work area set up, a desk set up for her, for when she needs to study and all that good stuff. He also wants to go ahead and give her this key, okay? He tells her that he wants her to sit down. And she was like, now I'm getting nervous. And he was like, nah, it's nothing to be getting nervous about or whatever. And, she was letting him know that she's down for him. She went to jail for him and she would do it again, and she was like, but giving her this key, that's really a big step or whatever the case may be, right? And it is a big step, okay? It is. And he was like, so listen, I just want to point out that you said you would go to jail for me, but me giving you a daggone key is too much, moving in with me is too much, because he gave her the key and she figured that it was just going to be a thing of him, letting her have the key where she could come in and out. But he's like, no, I want you to move in here. And she was like, us being around each other 24/7, we can't get away from each other. And he was like, oh, so you be needing to get away from me? He was like, that's why you went to jail, So he was saying, she was saying she liked her space, and he was like, well, I don't want to get away from you. I want to be around you as much as I possibly can. Everything around, you is easy for me or whatever. And he was like, if they do get mad, then they could just go ahead and go for a drive. Well, rather, he said she could go for a drive. And she was like, wait, I could go for a drive. And he was like, yeah, this is my house. But then he was like, I'm joking. And she was like, see that right there? She was like, no, when you tell jokes or whatever the case may be, there's always a little truth in them. So then he was like, well, I'm being serious right now. He says, I really want this. He was like, can you please move in with me? And so she basically was like, I'll tell you what, because he was like, don't make me get on my knees, okay? I will get on my knee. And she like, nah, I don't need you to do all of that. And so he's like, I'm not joking. And he was like, if you think the moving in is too fast, then you really would think getting down on one knee is too fast. So she said, this is what I'll do. He was like, okay, tell me. She said, I will move in. And he was like, yes. And he was like, no buts, no buts. But then, of course, she still came with a but. And she said she's going to keep her place, though. And he telling her, like, oh, no, you won't. He's like, get rid of that, sell everything in it or whatever, right? But I could feel where Fatima's coming from with saying, okay, I'll move in with you, but I'm going to still keep my own place and, do the little back and forth, at least in the beginning, until we get settled. I think that would actually be a smart move that a lot of people don't do. But we already know, that more than likely this was going to all happen because, of course, we have Fatima coming. So there's that. But, he's like telling her, let's get on upstairs and baptize this place. Okay, now that we got that settled. And he was like, you got to always try to ruin a romantic moment. Okay, so he was like, let's go ahead and get into it. And, they want to end up, butt naked all around the house. Okay, I ain't mad at them for that. And so, basically so far we do have an agreement for her that she's going to do it. And so I'm like, okay, Zach and Fatima, okay, we love to see it. So, then we move on to Hayden deciding that he going to bring his raggedy behind in Andy's office and basically start thinking that it's okay for him to question her, and she was like, why are you in my office? And he talking about actually, I'm more so in the hallway. She's like, no, you're in my office, okay? And there's no reason for you to be in here. And he's saying she thinks she's slick. He knows she's behind, getting Fatima out. He knows that her and her boss got, Zach out. And she was like, listen, there's going to be a bullying claim against you. There's going to be a harassment claim. You've been harassing her ever since you found out she was dating Zach. And he was about to say something else. And she was like, don't play with me. Everything I'm saying is true. And I have the proof. And so he was like, yeah, okay. And she was like, get your ass out of my office. So he was like, okay. I say, yes, Andy, check him. Okay. For once, Andy is stepping up. Okay. And so then we had Mr. Preston coming in, and Maurice was like, girl, who's that? He coming into the bank and he want to speak to Sabrina for a minute. And she's asking him how he's doing. And he was like, I'm good. And she was like, you got an account here? He was like, no, I don't. I just actually was hoping that I could talk to you for a minute. And so she's like, yeah, okay. He said, can we go somewhere and talk in private? She's like, yeah, my office. Of course, Maurice is all in it as usual. And so they step into the office or whatever. And of course, Preston is just basically there to let her know, to get her opinion, to basically tell her that he's been going about things the wrong way. He's been messing it up, okay, making things worse and getting bad advice out here, right? And so I guess he kind of wanted to get a different perspective from her friend. And Sabrina basically was like, listen, the most that I could tell you is that you actually need to go ahead and talk to her. Whatever you was going to say to me, say it to her. She really does like you. And he was like, at one point I thought that she did, but now he ain't really too sure. And she was like, no, trust me, Preston, she really do. And if y'all could go ahead and actually have a conversation, that probably would, make the difference. And so he basically was apologizing to her, and she was like, no, it's okay. And she was like, I just promise you, just call her. And so he says that he will, the whole Preston and Danni, I was rooting for them. I really liked their vibe in the beginning, and then it just went like a whole nother direction. So I don't even know at this point, but we shall see. So as he opens the door, Maurice behind is blocking the daggone doorway, talking about some, oh, so sorry. You know, Sabrina's like, Maurice, and Maurice talking about, excuse me, and he bending all over. And Sabrina is like, Maurice, stop, 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 stop. So, you know, Maurice is a daggone fool. And he's talking about some white money, white money, white money. So she's like, what the heck are you doing? What the hell is wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? And he talking about, oh, who was that? You know, she said, that's Danny's friend. He was like, well, honey, friend. He said, he looked like a cowboy to me, you know. And she was like, he's straight. And she was like, yeah, my kind of man, okay? I said, Maurice, stop it. And, you know, he basically was saying that, you know, she telling him to go to work, and he talking about, I'm a cowgirl. I said, okay, Maurice, whatever, you know, and he doing this dance out of the office, and Sabrina's just standing there looking at him, hands folded. And so, you know, next she calls Karen to see if she could do her hair. Then she calls Danni, of course, to give her the update and let her know that Preston stopped by. And Danny's pretty much like, you know, what did he say and all of that kind of stuff, and says that she has a date tonight. And then, you know, Sabrina lets her know she has a date too. So they decide, hey, we can make this into a double date. But Danny says she's not going to tell the guy anything about it. And, you know, Sabrina says this would give her a chance to meet Bayo. And she's like, okay, cool, yeah. So then we have, you know, Miss Fatima in this kitchen cooking up some, you know, some, what was it, shrimp Alfredo, shrimp linguine, something like that. And, you know, she in there chefing it up, and Zach coming behind her, kissing on her like, oh, you already in the kitchen cooking? And she's like, yeah. So she was saying, like, once she had finished everything and he poured a glass of wine, she was like, okay, well, you know, he says, you know what I'm thinking? She was like, no, tell me. He was like, I think I'm going to rent out the house next door, okay? So she was like, oh, okay, you are thinking. She was like, I like that. And he was like, yeah, that he could use that to pay off the mortgage. So she was like, all right, that's what I'm talking about. And he was like, yeah, I'm always thinking, you know. He was like, plus with the stock. So she was like, well, what's going on with it now? And he said, well, last time he checked, it was at like 30%. And she was like, let me see. And they both went and started looking at it. And so she was like, well, Zach, how much money you made so far? And he talking about a little over $2 million. I said, go ahead, Zach. So she was like, okay, I think you need to sell it. And I agree with Fatima. You know, she's telling him to get out while he can. And he was like, let me talk to Jake about it. And she started making, you know, faces again, and was like, you really trust him, when he brought up Jake? And he was like, I do. And she was like, why? He was like, well, because he's the one that told me, you know what I'm saying, what I needed to do to help me out of the SEC situation, or whatever the case may be. And, you know, so far everything he been saying been on point. And she was like, I just don't trust it. And he said, I know you made that clear. You know, he said, but it's been helpful. And she was like, please just sell it. And he was like, well, can I talk to Jake first or whatever? And she was like, is he talking to Gary? And he was like, damn, you ask a lot of questions, you know. So he was like, yeah, he probably is. I wouldn't put it past or whatever. And so she was like, Zach, and he was like, listen, I know, I heard you, right? And he was like, it's all right. It's going to be okay. And so he was like, can we cheers to that? And she was like, yes. And he was like, can we cheers to that $2 million? She was like, yeah, we can sure enough cheers to that. And so she said she can't drink too much because she was going to get ready to go ahead and go, right? She was like, you know, she don't have her stuff, and she don't want to have to hurry up and leave and go back to her apartment early in the morning to get ready and then go to work. And so he talking about some, I know daggone well you got a whole bag. And she was like, a whole bag? What the heck is that? He was like, come on, stop playing with me. Every woman got that whole bag for when they ready to go out. And he was saying that he seen the bag that she keeps in her trunk, and she talking about some, you know, no, she ain't got that. So nonetheless, what she decides to do is go home, you know, get whatever things that she need, and then come back with it. And you know, they end up making an agreement for that. And when she goes to leave, he calls Jake, who claims that he's nearby and he's with his girlfriend. And he tells him to come over and pick up this check, okay? He says that he basically don't like owing people nothing, and, you know, he want to hurry up and pay him back. So Jake is like, okay, he'll be there in a minute. So, you know, then he just basically was going on, you know, to wait for him or whatever, because, you know, Jake was like, he was watching the news with his girl. So I was like, when we gonna see this girl? Okay, we've heard him bring her up like 3 times. So Andi makes a surprise visit to Danni. You know, she come in talking about how she missed the place and she liked the place and she loved coming to the place and all of that kind of stuff. And she basically was asking Danni like, oh, well, you going on a date with Preston? And so Danni talking about some, no, you know, she's not going on a date with Preston or whatever. You know, she don't really know what's going on with her and Preston. And the more she think about it, she feels like the reasons why she been having so much issues with him, you know, the real down to the root issue is basically that his family is racist. And even though he's not that way, he's so naive and lost, and that everything, you know, that he learned so far is because she had to go out of his way to teach him, and she can't be taking the time to teach him things every daggone minute. And so she's feeling more comfortable with these dates that she's setting up now because she wouldn't have to do all of that, you know. And Andi's telling her, well, you know, to play devil's advocate or whatever the case may be, I can say that he really does care about you and that he has been trying. You know, you can't say that he's not. And then Danni basically ends up saying to Andi like, okay, but you really didn't come here to talk about me. You more so came to be able to, you know, go ahead and get advice with you and Gary, didn't you? You know, am I lying? And so she was like, that's the only time you come here. If not, you would have probably went to Karen. And of course, Andi was telling her, don't say that, and that's not true. And she was like, when the last time you been here? And she was like, oh, come on. Me and the girls was here. We all came that time. And we all, you know what I'm saying, had a drink. And we had a great time. And the last time I actually came here by myself. And she was like, yeah, but when you came here by yourself, what did you want, or something along them lines? And, you know, Andi was saying sorry. So she was like, well, what do you want to know about Scary Gary? And she was like, Scary Gary. She was like, don't call him that or whatever. He's not scary. I'll say, Andi, whatever. So here we go. Back to the ball, right? Just when I thought it was still hope for damn Andi, she started talking about she really like Robin, okay, but that could be a problem, you know. Danni agrees with her there. She's like, yeah, boss. And she was like, at the same time, you know, she's looking at the fact that she's driving over there inside of that Rolls Royce, right? And she's like, yeah, the car that, you know, he bought you. And by the way, the car that I have not been in yet, but whatever. And, you know, Andi talking about is really nice. She was like, then I was thinking about Gary in the penthouse and all of that. And so she was like, you know, just all the things that he's doing. And I was wondering, you know, and Danni cuts her off and was like, how much you still love him? And she was like, I wasn't going to say that. She basically says, you know, even though Danni was like, but it's true. She says, I was going to say, you know, that she's thinking of maybe calling him and maybe having dinner with him. And so Danni was like, okay, and how do you feel about that? You know, she talking about she don't know how she feel about it. And, you know, she want to see if things changed or, and, you know, and so Danni was like, okay, and what are you asking me? And she was like, well, I want to know if you think, you know, that I should, if that's the right thing to do. And she was like, oh, you know, or is she making a mistake? And then Danni's kind of like, girl, we already talked about this. We've been over it already. And she's, you know, Andi's like, you're right. She was like, so what difference is whatever I say now gonna make? You know, you pretty much already know what you should and shouldn't be doing. And so, you know, Andi's like, you're right. And she was like, I'm going to get out of here so that you could go ahead and have your date or whatever the case may be. And I hope that you have a great time. And she was like, and you're going to call him. And so Danni was like, yeah, okay. Well, you know, she telling Danni she looked gorgeous. And Danni was like, thank you, baby. And she was telling Danni to enjoy her date. And Danni basically said to her, you're going to, you know, you do the same. And she tells her, well, first I'm going to start out with a phone call. And Danni was like, well, all you going to hear is, Andi, meet me somewhere. Andi, come on over. Or Andi, can I come over to the penthouse? Andi, let me come over. And she was telling her, you know, stop it and stop calling him Scary Gary, that he's not scary to her. I say, Andi, I thought you might have had a little bit of hope, but you basically giving me Karen. Speaking of Karen, we get her next, honey, okay? They did counting money. Apparently, they made some good dollars today, all right, at the salon, even though we never see nobody in there but one time or two times. And, you know, Pam is saying they did good, and she was asking if she could take a little money out of it. And then, you know, Karen said, yeah, go ahead, help yourself. And so, you know, Brina comes in to get this do done. And, you know, she's just asking her how her day's been and how she feeling. And Sabrina's like, she's tired. You know, it's been a long day. But she was like, get on over here, girl, so I could go ahead and take care of you. I got you. And, you know, Sabrina was like, well, really, how are you? And she was like, no, I'm good. Like I said, you know, She was like a little tired or whatever. You know, it was a busy day. And so Sabrina was telling her she liked her shoes and stuff like that, and she was like, thank you. And then Sabrina was telling her thank you, you know, for helping her out with her hair. And Karen was basically like, you know, it's just a hairstyle. And she was like, you know, I know you've been on your feet all day. And so Sabrina was like, thank you, but it's fine. So Sabrina's asking her, I'm sorry, Karen is asking her, you know, you really like this guy? And she was like, so far he seems cool or whatever the case may be. I just met him. And she was like, don't bring up Calvin. And she was like, no, girl, I'm not. She was like, just go out and have a good time, enjoy yourself, you know, relax yourself. And Sabrina basically was saying she will. And she was like, okay, good. And so Sabrina starts again saying, for real, how are you feeling today? And Karen is like, I said I'm fine. She was like, I know, but with all the stuff with Zach or whatever the case may be. And so Karen was like, Brina, and she was like, are you going to see, you know, Aaron tonight? And Karen was like, probably. And she was like, oh, okay. So she was like, well, I kind of feel bad about it. And Sabrina was like, why? She gonna talk about some, oh, I don't know. I just sometimes be feeling like I'm using him. Girl, you are. You are. You know, I like him a lot, but I feel like I'm using him. That's exactly what you're doing. It ain't that you feel that you're using him. You know you using him. And then Sabrina gonna talk about why you feel that way. And she was like, well, even the other night, I didn't really want him. I wanted something else. So Sabrina was like, it's okay. She was like, you know, I don't want to judge you and how you feel or whatever the case may be. And, excuse me, she was like, you know, after 3 years, basically bringing up Zach again. After 3 years, it just ends with him giving me a check, and that's supposed to be it. And she was like, well, Karen, people move on. Karen talking about something, but he hasn't. Look, I know him. He gets mad at me, and he sleeps around, and he comes back again. And so Sabrina was like, and is that what you deserve? And Karen gonna say, I don't know, girl. I just know that, you know what I'm saying, he always comes back to me. And Sabrina's like, come back to you. She was like, I know it's weird. I'm confused or whatever the case may be. I said, girl, at this point, you ain't confused. You delusional. I'm sorry. And so, you know, Sabrina basically tells her, like, girl, I think you should listen to Danni. And she stops and was like, what? Did you just say that? She was like, I know, right? She was like, but no, seriously, she had a point when she said, you know what I'm saying, that you have all the time in the world. You do not have to make decisions today. Take your time. And at the end of the day, you know that we all have your back as well. You know you don't have to see him or whatever. And she was like, Karen, please. And so Karen was like, I know, I'm not. And she was like, I'm not going to fool myself anymore. I said, girl, bye. I'm sorry. I'll be trying to be patient with Karen and understanding, but she be working my nerves, you know. And so they changed the subject, and Karen was asking Sabrina what she want, and she was like, I just want your special. And she was like, telling her again, you know, we got you right. And then Karen was like, I know you do. She was like, I know you got me and I got you. And they basically laugh and hug and have their little bonding moment. And I appreciate the fact that Sabrina can be patient with her and let her vent and say what she want to say, and you know, be honest with her, because that's what you're supposed to do as a friend. Be honest, have their back, let them vent when they need to vent. So she definitely needed that person that could be there for her in that way, honey. Okay, so moving on along, we get to Gary. Gary's still sitting here having a damn temper tantrum. Okay, thank you for another person that was calm in this situation, Aaron, because I couldn't have sat through that mess. Okay, he's still going on and on about what he bought, and he can't believe this, and how dare she, and the disrespect that he's, you know what I'm saying, dealing with, that she could be with another man. And Aaron is basically telling him, like, yo, calm your behind down. Okay, you got to act like you got some daggone sense. You know, he was like, I get it, all right. He was like, honestly, you got to let it go. Gary talking about, don't tell me nothing about letting it go. So, you know, Aaron is like, so what are you going to do? He was like, I'm pissed, man. He was like, okay, I get that, but what are you going to do? So Gary talking about, I want my money back. I want my place back and all this stuff. And, you know, Aaron is like, Gary, come on. He was like, all right, first of all, you shouldn't have even been looking, you know, and you shouldn't have been going, giving nobody nothing that, you know what I'm saying, you didn't really want them to have. And so Gary talking about some, listen, the apartment, the gift, the cars, and all of that stuff, you know, that was for us. You didn't say that, though. And Aaron is like, do you hear yourself? You know, and he was like, can you just listen, or whatever the case may be. And so Gary sit back and he getting quiet for a minute or whatever. And he just looking like a little kid when they be pouting when their parents take their damn toys away. And he was telling him to stop looking over there. And so Gary was like, well, you took the damn, you know what I'm saying, telescope or whatever the case may be. So I can't look at nothing else. And Aaron was telling him, I'm 100% sure that you could go and buy another one. You know, Gary telling him this is ridiculous and it's ungrateful. So he was telling him to relax, and then the phone starts ringing, and who should it be? Okay, that's her. That's her. And so Aaron is like, okay, calm down. He's like, she gonna say something that's gonna piss me off. And he was like, breathe, let it out. Just relax, answer the phone. And he gonna talk about something. Shut up, Aaron. I ain't trying to hear that shit right now, right? He switched to like 3 different freaking emotions within a second, y'all, okay? The red flags, all right? And then he answers, hello, hi, what you up to? You know, Andy's asking him how he doing, what he doing. Nothing, just here. Andy say, oh, I'm leaving to go to Danny's place. I'm leaving from Danny's place. Can we meet? He, yeah, we can meet. So she's like, I really want to talk to you or whatever. He, okay, where do you want to meet? You know, Aaron just looking. She's like, at the incredible penthouse you gave me. He like, oh, okay, yeah, we can meet there. All right, what time? And she's like, well, I'm on my way there. He's like, all right. So he's like, I'll see you there. She's like, okay. He say, bye. So he hang up with a big cheesy smile now. And Aaron's like, what she wanted? He's like, oh, she want to talk to me. He was like, can you do it? He was like, yeah, man, we good. He was like, can you talk to her calm and talk to her like adults? Yeah, I'm good. You know, she just want to meet and talk to me. You know what I'm saying? So Aaron's like, okay. He was like, we're going to figure this out. So he was like, well, where are you meeting her? He was like, at the incredible penthouse I got her, you know, with this damn drink in his hand. And then, you know, Aaron is basically worried. He was like, remember that last time you got mad? And he was like, come on, man, I'm better, I'm good. Are you, Gary? And then Aaron is like, okay, well, first of all, stop drinking. And then he's like, whoa, you think I'm that bad? And Aaron trying to sugarcoat it, talking about some, no, I think you passionate. No, we think you that damn bad, Gary. Yes, we do, because that's what you showed us. So he talking about some, look at me, I'm fine, I'm gonna be cool, I'm gonna show you I could be cool, I'm gonna make you proud and all of this stuff. So Aaron like, all right. And then he was like, well, make sure, you know, that you call me when you leaving or whatever the case may be, and let me know everything's all right. And he was like, all right, I'm gonna see you later. And so Gary grabs his coat to leave, okay? And so then we have Andi calling Fatima, and you know, she's there trying to get her bag ready to go back to Zach's. And she's telling her she needs to speak to her. And she's like, well, what's up? What's going on? She was like, what the hell did Hayden do now? She's like, well, how you know I'm not calling you about Zach? She was like, girl, don't even play about that. I got that on lock, okay? She was like, what the hell, you know what I'm saying, did Hayden do? So she basically just gives her the breakdown, lets her know, gives her the update on how Hayden is looking into the damn federal damn base now. She was like, what? Why? You know, and that he's looking into, you know, all these videos from the airport. So she was like, damn, he just don't let it go. Like, you know what I'm saying? What the hell is it? And she was like, I know, girl, I don't know, but I wanted you to know about it. She was like, you know, Robin told me about it, even though he wasn't supposed to. So if there's anything that Zach did that I should know about, you know, speak now or forever hold your peace, essentially. And so she was like, well, what I'm going to do is when I get to Zach's house, I'm going to have him call you. And she was like, come on, what did he do, Fatima? You know, tell me. She was like I said, I'm going to have Zach tell you when I get there. And so she was like, is it illegal? And Fatima basically was like, girl, it's all illegal, okay, until you get caught. I said, I know that's right. So basically, you know, she lets her know once I get there, he will speak to you and he will tell you everything that's going on. So Andi is like, okay. So, girl, they hang up the phone or whatever, and, you know, Fatima's just still like, you know, that damn Hayden, like, what will it take for him to leave us alone? He is just the freaking Energizer bunny, right, that keeps going. And so we get Gary, you know, because she had got a call on the other line was saying that Gary was on his way upstairs. And she was like, all right, girl, I'm going to let you go. And Gary get upstairs and he, yeah, let me sit here getting flashes. I'm fine. You want something to drink? Yeah, I want some drink. No. I'm okay. I don't want nothing to drink. Yeah, let me just, and, you know, the whole time getting flashes of seeing them on the couch. And then he's like, I'm sorry. No. And she's like, Gary, what's going on? What's happening here? What are you doing? No, 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 no. You know, Gary, wait, where are you going? No, 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 no. And so he go running off. I said, child. So then we get, you know, Jake coming being loud or whatever, and Zach is like, listen, this is a quiet neighborhood, okay? Don't come over here with that ghetto foolishness. You know, get on in here. And so he come in and he was like, man, you still in a shirt and tie. You don't never get relaxed. And so, you know, he telling him relax with that. And Zach is like, no, that's my point. Do you ever relax? You know, he let Zach know he might have to steal him as an interior direct, you know, y'all know what I mean, decorator. So basically he was like, yeah, it's nice, right? And then he give him the check, and you know, he just let him know I appreciate it. He really didn't have to pay him and all of that kind of stuff. And Jake was like, listen, man, nah, I don't mind. He was like, you know, he was acting like an a-hole, and I wanted to get him out the way. And he was like, I know things are a little weird when we really don't know each other like that, but sometimes you have that connection with people immediately where you feel like y'all could vibe, and basically, you know, like y'all could be brothers. And he was like, well, obviously we're brothers of a different, you know what I'm saying, persuasion. And Jake was like, yeah. And he was telling him he appreciated him. So he was like, your girl not here. He was like, no, she had to run out on an errand or whatever. So he's like, oh, okay, cool. So he was like, you know, did you see the stock and how it was going up? So Jake was like, yeah, I did. He was like, you know, she thinks I should sell it. And basically Jake is agreeing. He was like, you already know what I think. I already told you. And then, you know, Zach is like, I hear y'all. So he was like, you know, if you want to just keep it going or whatever, because you taking a chance by leaving it in there, and you could have the SEC pop up back at your door. He was like, you know, then you could give me $1 million and I can invest it into some other companies. And so, of course, Zach is like, oh, yeah, that's what you want me to do, reinvest it in some new stock. He was like, now that's where the brother thing come in at. You that type of brother. So he was like, you know, give me $1 million type of brother. So he was like, I never had $1 million in my life. And so he was like, what about if I put it in your companies and then your companies go down? You know, let's play devil's advocate. And Jake was like, okay. He was like, if your companies go belly up, then I would still lose it. So what's the difference in me putting it in those and those going belly up, or, you know, leaving it where it's at now? And he was like, I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. So Jake was like, all right, I'll tell you what, I'm going to email you a bunch of information. You look at it and you get back to me and you tell me what you think about it. So, you know, Zach is like, okay, I could do that. He was like, is this going to be coming from Gary company? He was like, no, it's just going to be me. And he was like, just you, but you're working under Gary's company. And he was like, well, we could do a side deal. And so, you know, he's like, okay, now we talking, because I don't rock with damn Gary, okay? And he was like, I understand that. And he kind of had a look. So Zach was like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you know? Spill the tea. So he talking about some nothing. He was like, no, I see it's something. What do you mean nothing? And then he was like, no, I just been watching him. He was like, you been watching him with money? He like, nah, he good with money. It's other things. So he was like, I don't want to say too much. And I'm going, spill the tea, Jake. Spill the tea, Jake. Spill the tea, Jake. Don't hold it. And he was like, you know, Zach tells him, you ain't acting like a brother right now. You acting like a distant cousin. So he was like, nah, I'm not going to get into all of that. You know, if you have any questions, I'm going to send you all the information. Whatever, we just gonna work strictly pertaining to that. And he was telling him he got him, and you know, Zach was like, I got you too. I feel like eventually Jake is either gonna have to tell it to Zach or he's gonna have to tell it to Andi. And Andi messed up because she never told Fatima about the call when he was looking for her either. Like, I just feel like they all gotta sit down and have this conversation pertaining to Gary, but we shall see. So now we get this last scene where Miss Tony, the one that freaking gave him the info from the beginning, calls him up. She acting like he supposed to know who she is. She like, I'm not going to say who it is on the phone. She was like, but you know who it is. And it's the person you helped at the airport. He like, I helped a lot of people. And she's like, well, none of them that made you money. And she's telling him to meet him at that same, you know, hotel. So, baby, that's how I went off. Zach was just looking like, so what y'all think she coming to say now, honey? And what y'all think gonna happen with Andi and Gary? You know, Bayo look like he about to be playing with Sabrina for the previews for next week, honey. And I said I wasn't feeling him. But y'all go ahead and put all this in the comments. All right, let's discuss. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you are so inclined. Okay, till next time. Toodaloo.